And so last week I wanted to get into talking some about oil because I kind of saw, although I didn't completely realize what was coming, but I kind of saw what was coming with crude oil last week, and we may yet talk about that on the show today. The other thing I wanted to talk about that we may be able to get to on the show today was a study that had come out about sunlight having a major effect on coronavirus and killing the coronavirus, but we didn't get to that. And, of course, that became big news toward the end of the week when President Trump brought it up during his press conference.
Open the beaches, if that's true.
That's right. Well, you look back at the Spanish flu, the 1917, 18, 19 epidemic, and what did they do to treat those people? And we talked about this on the show before, but up in Boston, they set up an outdoor field hospital because they found back then, and of course, they didn't have all of the scientific technology and knowledge that we have today, but they knew back then. And, I mean, what do we say? We say sunlight is the best disinfectant, right? I mean, that's like a common phrase that we use. Why do we use that? Because, I mean, we know that already, that sunlight kills viruses, bacteria, and other things, and in fact kills them very quickly. So one of the best treatments is being out in the sun. And add on top of that, there's apparently some kind of antimicrobial action to fresh air. Just to fresh air. There's we talked about this, I think, on the show before, but the fresh air cofactor that actually helps to kill some of these viruses just by being outside in the fresh air.
And, you know, that's why they tell you let your child play in dirt. That's why you don't have these fears that in that dirt is all kinds of crazy diseases that they could get because the sunlight's probably doing something. There are germs nonetheless, but the sunlight is definitely doing something.
And when this all first started, people were yelling, take vitamin D to help us.
Yeah. Well, vitamin D is a great. I mean, if you don't know about vitamin D, you ought to look into vitamin D. It's not just a vitamin. It's really more like a hormone, and it really boosts your immune system, and it's fundamental. So, I've been heavy duty on the vitamin D for years, and I don't, who knows? Knock on wood, but I don't seem to get sick quite as often as other people do. In fact, sometimes I go years without getting sick. And I try to keep my vitamin D levels up. Even though I live in a state where I have opportunity to get quite a bit of sunlight, I still supplement with supplements.
Shows people are so deficient in vitamin D. That's usually something we all have is low vitamin D, even though we live in Florida.
Yeah.
And all these little immune system tips that we're sharing now, you're going to want to keep them in mind as we move forward and start to interact with people again because our immune systems are going to be weak.
Oh, totally. And we had a video that hopefully we'll get a chance to get to that video that you guys found for us, and you being Roxanne and Pat, and it's really interesting what they have to say about the immune system and how just being under quarantine, being inside, like you're saying, Roxanne, not interacting with other people, not encountering germs on our day-to-day life outside the home, so that means there's a kind of a fixed universe of germs within our home, and we're not out there sharing germs with other people and thus developing and building up our immune systems, how that in and of itself is going to cause people to get sick and to have problems.
We need some inoculation right about now.
That's right. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.